My wife and I had the entire theater to ourselves watching Elio, and I am confident that just down the hall there was a much busier theater for the How to Train Your Dragon remake, and I thought to myself, everyone at Pixar and Disney knows that they would have to be financial idiots to not consider making live-action remakes of Pixar films. The audience has sent a clear message. Everyone wants to see more remakes. Now, let's talk about Elio, which I enjoyed way more than I expected. I laughed pretty hard a few times, but I don't think the jokes will work quite as well on a second watch through. And I even got a little teary-eyed at the emotional climax of the film. The animation looks very uninspired, but of course it's Pixar, so it still looks pristine. It's just that darn awful plot, man. It sucks so bad. Let's get into it. Elio is a very young boy who has just been orphaned and has been taken in by his aunt Olga. The film really wants you to know that Elio is lonely. He doesn't have a great relationship with his aunt, or any relationship with anyone else. He becomes obsessed with aliens and the idea that he belongs somewhere else, as in not on Earth, and not with humans. He goes out to the beach by himself seemingly every day and waits to be abducted by aliens. His aunt Olga, who is an Air Force major and is essentially an air traffic controller for space, is informed about a section of audio from the Voyager 1 spacecraft being sent back to Earth from outer space. She doesn't believe in aliens, so she tells the consultant to go home and to send no reply. Until Elio comes along, he sends a message out himself and asks to be picked up by whoever is out there. Olga enlists Elio in a military youth camp, hoping it will be good for him. Literally the first night there, he is chased down by some bullies, but he is rescued by the aliens coming to get him. Elio finds himself in the Communiverse, a place for people from all over the cosmos to share their ideas and technologies with each other. Elio takes on the role of leader of Earth, and everyone goes along with it. There are computers here that claim to know the secrets of the universe, and yet everyone here is dumb enough to think a child is the leader of Earth. And not only that, they offer Elio a position at the Communiverse, basically on the spot. But there is one more candidate who is trying to apply as well. What does he bring to the table? Well, to start, he's not a kid, so he's obviously got my vote.
I am Grygon, Blood Emperor of Hylos!
So naturally, given the choice between these two, the Communiverse opts for Elio. Grygon says that if he can't be accepted in the Communiverse, then he will take it by force, or destroy it, or something. It really doesn't matter what he says he's going to do, because it's obvious he just wants their technologies for the war he's engaged in. The Communiverse is just going to bounce out. But Elio convinces the greatest minds in the galaxy to let him negotiate between them and Lord Grygon.
God, Blood Emperor of Hylos!
It goes better than you would expect. Elio just gets imprisoned without any of his belongings being confiscated. He escapes right away and meets Glorden, who just so happens to be Lord Grygon's son. They escape the Communiverse together and fake a hostage situation to get Grygon to leave them alone in exchange for his son. And because Elio is a child and not a genius like everyone else here is supposed to be, he convinces Glorden to use a clone as a replacement so he won't have to go back to his father and become a soldier. And this goes exactly as you think it should. Lord Grygon kills the clone and starts decimating the Communiverse. We're talking massive cannons, soldiers shooting everywhere, but sadly there is not a single on-screen death. Grygon forces a member of the Communiverse to read Elio's mind to locate his son, but this leads to Glorden fleeing his dad, landing him on Earth where he is captured by the United States government at the exact Air Force where Olga is stationed. Elio is sent back to Earth because the woman who read his mind found out that he's a child and not the leader of Earth. So he is put back on Earth where he meets back up with his aunt, Olga. And they both work together to steal the spaceship that Glorden is on, which is way easier than you are imagining it in your head. Breaking out of Sunnyside was infinitely harder than stealing an alien spacecraft from the United States government. Who knew? They make it back to the Communiverse, where Glorden and Lord
Qui-Gon
are reunited, and now he's chill. Elio is offered a chance to stay at the Communiverse because he's cool now, apparently. But Ohana still means something to Pixar, and Elio decides to stay on Earth with his Aunt Olga.
Actually, I had more to say.
So we've got a few problems. The biggest ones are all the characters being stupid when they shouldn't be. Qui-Gon should have stripped Elio when he is captured, interrogated him, and possibly tortured for the members of the Communiverse when he realizes his son is not the clone. The third act is pure nonsense, start to finish. Elio and Olga being able to steal a spaceship was beyond idiotic. But it happened so fast, there wasn't very much time to process how much stupid was going on. But then we get a long scene where Elio and Olga have to communicate with people on Earth using ham radios to dodge space debris. I really cannot stress how much I wanted this scene to be cut from the film. The point of it was to show Elio that he isn't alone, and that there are people on Earth he could communicate with if only he wanted to give them a chance. But man, it's so poorly executed, and it messes with the pacing horribly, and damages the plot. I honestly really liked Qui-Gon and his role in the story. His voice actor was giving it his all, and most of my laughs came from him. He was threatening, and in general cool, but man, he is stupid when the plot demands him to be stupid. He takes his precious time retrieving his son. He lets Elio escape back to Earth right after he finds out where his son is. You know, you might want to wait till you have him, Lord Qui-Gon, just saying. The plot is getting a 3 out of 10.
I am
Surgeon! I am
Blood Emperor!
My man Elio is allergic to being nice. He listed a fake meeting online in order to catfish people into coming to a ham radio club so that he can use his radios to get abducted by aliens. He is an absolute menace to his Aunt Olga. So much so that she almost gets fired because of him, and feels like she has to resort to sending him to a military camp. Elio lies to the smartest minds in the universe by letting them think that he's the leader of Earth, and his plan B for dealing with Qui-Gon is to use Qui-Gon's son as a hostage in order to make a deal. Now that's crazy, but he was able to pull it off, and it worked. So him planning on it, pretty stupid. But him actually being competent in doing it, yeah, very nice. But then he doesn't hold up his end of the bargain. And the film just presents it as a great moment of his, standing up for his new friend, Glorden. Remember, the film is all about belonging and loneliness. But you know what? When the plot and characters have to be broken in order to fit the theme of your movie, you might want to start over. Olga is a breath of fresh air for most of the movie. She stepped up like she needed to for Elio when his parents died. Olga gave up pursuing her dream of being an astronaut to take care of Elio. And Elio has the audacity to act like him getting sent to camp was a punishment from Olga. Man, I was furious when he said that. Anyway, Olga constantly makes an effort to help Elio and provides great motivation for him at the end of the movie to come back to Earth. She was very much a mediocre character, but greatly lifted up the overall quality of the movie. Qui-Gon is probably the only other character worth mentioning as far as I'm concerned. I've already said what I wanted to say about him for the most part. He's cool, intimidating, and was played very well. He was the only character I was super happy to see more of. He felt really threatening in almost every scene, and he helped flesh out all the world building. His reaction to being turned down by the Communiverse because they chose Elio over him was the appropriate reaction.
I am Qui-Gon, Blood Emperor of Hyluf!
It blows my mind that they wrote the story in such a way that the smartest minds in the universe chose an idiot child over an emperor. The characters for Elio will only be getting a 3 out of 10 from me.
Them aliens are here to take over the world!
And like with all Pixar films, I will discuss in depth the animation and style. Yeah, it's generic and boring, and that's all I have to say. 5 out of 10.
I think it's something that our current generation of animators have taken greatly to heart in trying to make our current films stylistically and graphically as different from one another as we can.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Disney made such beautifully animated movies, And when Pixar began, it was obvious that they too strived to make every film stylistically different. But what happened? I admit, it still looks impressive. Pixar almost never misses with their animation being top tier in the graphics department. But when your latest movie stylistically reminds me of Turning Red, you've got a problem. I hold up a film like Ratatouille as the gold standard for 3D character stylization. Pixar used to nail this. So why have they stuck with the bean mouth style? Do they think it's going to grow on the audience? Because it kinda is growing on me, but like a tumor. Animation is still gonna get a 5 out of 10, I'll be fair with it, but I don't like it.
May Doc have mercy on your soul.
Talking about movies is one of my favorite pastimes ever, but when it comes to Elio, I find myself being more and more interested in the conversation around it rather than with the movie itself. And I think that's primarily because no one watched it besides me, and the marketing for this film was non-existent. I realize no one like me is looking up when these movies are going to be coming out, but almost everyone I know didn't even know Elio existed, let alone when it was coming out. Pixar knew this one wasn't going to be that good, but here's my hot take. After kind of crapping about it the whole time, it's not even near Pixar's worst movie. Elio has the worst opening weekend box office for Pixar ever, and it doesn't deserve it. The fact that it's going to make less money than garbage like Mufasa, Kung Fu Panda 4, and Lightyear makes me really sad. I'm not necessarily recommending Elio, but I would recommend it over basically everything else that's come out this year. Elio is going to be getting a final score of 3 out of 10 from me. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I'll see all of you subscribers later.
I am Grigon, Blood Emperor of Hyrule.
I told you they're real. Them aliens are here to take over the world.
Get out